Greetings, everybody. Greetings, good evening, good evening, good evening once again. I actually like that greeting, but most people don't really say that in English. It sounds like a supervillain or something. Anyway, welcome, welcome. My name is Chimoge. You can also call me Moge. Thank you for joining me. Let me first plug in my cell phone, and then I'll get the stand up. Cabrinum no go, calling all my ancestors and to be bootlegged the in-laws, because a lot of my ancestors are in-laws to each other, just like any other person. So just say that and call them all in. I do that to help me pray, because I don't pray alone. Pray for a good live stream. I pray that you all get something out of this. Pray also that we all succeed. God, expand forever. Anyway. Okay. Alright. Announced that I was preparing for this live stream earlier on Moge, my personal YouTube channel. You can check out that. Those are shorts. I also put out some other shorts today. Figuring out, I'm saying this is related to what I'm doing today. I'm figuring out how to post all sorts of different content without ruining my inner life. In other words, without stressing myself too much and then causing myself to make mistakes, be sloppy, be overly stressed, crash and burn out, things of that nature. And I've never crashed and burned out like really, but the other stuff has been an issue. So that's been a process I've been figuring out. So as part of that, I've been figuring out how to document my work that is not inherently on camera. For example, if I'm making a video about, let's say Dr. Marjana, I'm just using that as examples. I've made a few. Obviously, the video itself is out, that's on camera, whether that be live or, pre-recorded. But there's a lot of work that goes into that, planning the video, notes, all of that. So I have a lot of trouble with those things not being on camera. So I've been figuring out over the last couple of years how to document that. I have registered viewers, 18. That's the number of the soil. Thank you very much for joining. But anyway, I've been figuring out how to document that over the years. And obviously, my ordeal has kind of slowed that process down. Even though I wasn't 100% sure I would document them on live stream, but that seems to be the best option now. Anyway, I found documenting them on live has been very helpful. Welcome everyone, welcome, thank you very much. So documenting them on live has been helpful, and then live streaming on my phone has been helpful. Those of you who've been following me for a while know before I was live streaming on my laptop. Now I prefer to live stream on my phone. I just didn't know how to do it on my phone before. Because again, I'm not a fiddler, also I don't know everything. I have great tips on that. I want to give out more tips about that. Because when I began live stream, all the information I had indicated that most people went live from a desktop computer, and it just seemed more difficult to live stream from a phone. Because I kind of tried out a couple things before it didn't go, so I thought, okay, maybe the Wi-Fi needs to be exceptionally strong. Now I know that's not necessarily true. And I think also the cell phone live streaming is improved. Shout out to all the companies. Shout out to YouTube. I'm using YouTube application right now for improving things. So yeah. Basically, now that I know how to live stream from my cell phone, I can document most things. Thank you for asking all. Thank you for comments. I appreciate them. I'll answer them at my own discretion just to make sure everything's above board. How was my day? My day has been good overall. It's been good overall. I'll say that. I'll give two reasons why. One, on Mogi, I got out a lot of things that are bothering me on shores. You can check those out because I don't like bothering things in. But at the same time, especially when it relates to complicated situations, for context, I was talking about what I call my ordeal, specifically how, just to be very quick, I got attacked. I got put in a bad position by family members a couple years ago. That led to me getting attacked by my younger sister. And then, because I was put in a situation where I had to live with her, I got attacked by her in a weird way. Had many aspects to it. I've talked about that before. And then on top of that, after that, I couldn't really verbalize what happened because it's particularly traumatic. And I just want to say this, just because someone is younger than you does not mean they can't hurt you physically, especially if it's an attack you don't expect. And also, just because, I'll just say it like this, just because you are male and the other person is female does not mean they cannot hurt you. I'm just saying this because I think to an extent, misconceptions like that played into me not being treated fairly. I'm sure there's other things, but that's one thing I've surmised. Anyway, the whole point is that happened, couldn't verbalize it, and then other things happened that prevented me from getting out of the situation, because my plan was, to get my own money to move out of that space, get myself together, then speak. It just got delayed because that attack happened. And again, like the idea that, a victim of violence is always going to remember the exact date when something happened is crazy. If you don't wake up expecting for something to happen, you're not going to just write it down. If you've been traumatized, you're not going to immediately go, let me write this down so I'm going to court or whatever. That's not the primary concern. It's like, oh, let me just at least process this and get healthy. But anyway, to my estimation, that attack happened at the very beginning of February 2023. Before, when I wrote about it, I said it happened in January. It was either like second half of January, very beginning of February. I think it was the beginning of February, what I'm thinking now. Also, again, I'm not an atheist. I pray, consult with my ancestors, other spirits. They told me it was really the beginning of February. It was most certainly no later the early part of February. So anyway, the point is it happened at that point, and then other things happened that slowed me down. So my initial plan didn't work. I wasn't getting help from other people. And then I finally got it out and told, I told family, because those were the best people who could help, in August. Yeah, August of 2023. So that's about, what is that? It took like 6 months. Then, they didn't help me sufficiently. So I actually left the apartment we were living in, unfortunately, for like maybe a couple days. I had to go back because I couldn't get a permanent place. The situation was so bad there that after a while I just left completely. And then I got attacked by other family members, in particular my biological father, who's a medical doctor. It looks like he used his medical contacts and stash or whatever to set up some sort of medical intervention. Because, he came in there with a lady he called social services and said they were there, ambushed them along with other people. And then, because of where I was, when my uncle, who is his younger brother, his name is Peter eBay, attacked me physically, and then along with other people, I just, instead of defending myself fully, I just just held back and like yelled at them to get off, and they wouldn't. And then at some points, I kind of complied with what they wanted in terms of staying still. Thankfully, I didn't get to do anything else, but they held me down and yelled. So I just didn't, I just didn't do much else because I was just like, in that situation, if I defend myself as I want to, if say like, authorities come through there later, there could be a misconception. I could look like I did something just because of the nature of self-defense. So anyway, that attack was bad, but I've talked about how I got out of that. But anyway, the whole point is, all that stuff happened. The reason I'm going into this is I'm talking about documenting my work. Because of that incident, I didn't keep live streaming. And I was already trying to fine tune my live stream. I didn't keep live streaming. So I started live streaming again. Was that earlier this month? Was that last month? Let's say it was a couple months ago. That was after more than 2-year gap. I just saw the numbers 11-10, 11-11. Make the wish for 11-11. Can I fully heal physically? It go on. And then, in that period, on reflection, it was really hard for me to document my work properly because if you check out my previous videos on this channel, in 2024, I put up a few videos that were really watch me work videos. Like, let me remember the titles. One I called Ivy League Graduate Statistics. Another one I called, the first one I put up, it was called a Moge Moment. Do not label spirituality a Moge Moment. And there are a couple other ones, so check them out. They're really long, but the whole point is those were watch me work videos. So that was the first time I'd done that. But those are pre-recorded videos. And then just checking how many people are with me. Those are pre-recorded videos. But again, taking time to get out pre-recorded videos can still be frustrated because it takes time to stitch them together. Also, they were quite long. It took a long time to, unite the videos. I have to make the description, all that. Think of the thumbnail. Whereas with live stream, especially the method I have now, I can just shoot it out. So I can just work in real time. I saw the number 1247, which I've been seeing. I think that's another cause for a wish. Let me say, can everybody meet their romantic goals? Because one of my goals is to solve the global romantic relationship crisis. I think we need to start thinking of it like that more, because it's a systemic issue. It's not just individual people messing up. Obviously, whenever you have a systemic issue, individual mistakes will be everywhere, but overall, there's something going on because, having good romantic relationships is basic, but when basic things break down, basic things don't happen. Anyway, can everyone meet their true romantic goals? Anyway, so the whole point I'm making is live streaming is really integral to me documenting my work in real time, the behind the scenes work that goes into the ultimate, excuse me. Okay, what's happened with me, it's my parents, it's just a whole bunch of cops and divorcement with parents and stuff. So sorry you're going through all that, you've had to deal with that. I pray that the situation gets better. That's Peyton Richardson D1V. Anyway, it's a lot of family breakdown. Anyway, the whole point I'm making is that, I'm upset that during that period I couldn't live stream. One, just really there were points when I didn't have a permanent place to stay. That was at the end of 2023 where the Wi-Fi wasn't consistent. I didn't have a full space to myself. So because of that, couldn't control the environment enough, wasn't confident that I could get online, didn't do it. But then on top of that, just because of how heavy a toll everything was on me emotionally, I was just like, let me not live stream just because, I say something I'd rather not say, or, something of that nature, I wouldn't be able to edit it out of the video. So I just didn't want to do anything that wasn't appropriate or anything I wouldn't want to put out. Because obviously when you're in that much pain, it's right in your face every day. I mean, it's still a lot of pain to deal with, but when at that level, it's basically impossible to guarantee you'll be able to hold back at a normal level. But anyway, said about that, but the positives, at least in that period, I had this idea. The beginnings of it happened with those watch me work videos. And now it's evolved into a lot of these live streams. The issue I'm having now is, because I figured out a lot, I feel I'm in a very good place. In particular, let me take something out of my pocket here. In particular, let me even take off my hoodie. Give me a second. Give me a second here. Yeah. All right, yeah. But in particular, because I figured out my format for writing, because for those of you who know, I take writing very seriously. I've written a lot of articles before that got attention. If you check out, some of my writings on other platforms, particularly the ones I wrote while I was part of the Harvard Lit Review. Again, that's when I was in college at Harvard. You'll see that. And I've written other articles as well. You see, I take that seriously, but I've been trying to figure out how to write in a more efficient manner. I've been trying to figure out how to write in a more efficient manner, and also in a way that is healthier for people to read. Because I think one big flaw in the way we write now is that the only way we write is in the way that's most difficult to understand. We want to put as many words in there. We don't add any like emojis, things like that. So that's considered to be standard writing. I think that has to change just because that's not how we process information. I mean, for context, people watch way more videos than they read articles and things like that. I think that's natural. Not that there's no place for writing. It's just we have to adjust to that. Because the goal is to get people to understand information. Just seeing how many people are with me. Thank you for everyone with me right now. So anyway, because of that, I've been thinking, okay, how do what kind of writing should go with each piece of material I put out? Like, for example, every video description is an article, really. So is every description of an art piece. What do those look like? What's the structure? What about, what I post, say when I'm posting a link on Patreon, what do I put there? So I've kind of figured out the basic structure for that. I just need to write out the templates, and I'll explain that more in the future. That's very good. So because of that, I just feel a lot of calm because there's a lot of, there was just a lot of stress regarding not knowing that. And coupled that with what I figured out, was that a year ago now or is that several months? It feels like a long time. I think it's several months ago that each one of my projects really has to be centered around an art piece, and then off of that I'll have videos, live streams, things of that nature. So I put those together. I base everything on making art. And then also I figured out, I'm really happy about this, I figured out my better, video creation structure. That's for pre-recorded videos, particularly with how to navigate making them in terms of my inner life, right? So that's all been very helpful. So I figured all that stuff out. Now, because of all that, I'm in a good place. The one thing left, though, is some of that work I have to do, it requires my phone, because I actually write articles on my phone now. I found that's better. But then I can't record that. I just really have to deal with the fact that if I'm doing work and it's not recorded, that's really irritating to me, to put it mildly. So I'm just thinking of, I know that's a long wind up, but I'm excited to take my time. I'm just thinking of how I can better document work that requires my cell phone, and the goal really is to do it without using my laptop because I'm trying to minimize strain on my laptop. Where's the paper I have? Ooh, here we go. Here it is. It's for thinking time. Here's the label I got on it. And then here are the words. Yeah, so that's what I'll be working on. Talk for quite a bit, but let's think. I think using shorts is a big part of it. And I also have to think of things in terms of options, because one problem I've had a lot in the past, I've thought that, okay, I have to give myself things that I absolutely must do. But that's not good for me because it can force me to move before I'm ready to move. So I have to think of life in terms of options. What are my options when I want to accomplish this goal? And then naturally, if I'm feeling good, I'm healthy, I will just take up options and do what I need to do. Should have gotten some tissues anyway. So, anyway, that was a long wind up. Thank you for listening to me. I'm just giving appropriate context. Thank you for everyone who's joining me just now. My name is Chimoge. You can also call me Moge. Welcome to Chimoge's Comments. This is the one branch of my media company, Ozibe Moko. Message of the light of the world, or really the light of the world is the full meaning of that. If you want to be literal, the message of the peer of the one who drinks wealth. And drinking wealth is not a bad thing, because it's like you're very powerful and also you're rich. All you drink is wealth, right? Cool. Thought a lot about the translation of that. It's the name of my paternal, right? Maybe it's better to say patrilineal. I think that's the same term. I think it means the same thing. Patrilineal. No, patrilineal sounds better to me. I'll look it up. Anyway, patrilineal great-great-grandfather. His name was Nwoko. Shout out to him. Obviously, he's passed now. NWKU. That's where that name comes from. The name eBay, that was the name given to his son. eBay means peer. So if you put that together, that's what that means. Anyway, that's my media company. I have different wings of it, just because I want to put different types of content different places. I've thought a lot about how to categorize different content. A lot of the way I categorize things is not necessarily typical of how most people do it, but I think oftentimes we don't categorize things correctly. I'm categorizing things such that when people see it, it'll resonate in their brain the best. That's my whole thing. Because sometimes we don't even understand how well something resonates in our brain anyway. And we're building our knowledge collectively as a group of people anyway. So, welcome to Chimoge's Comments. Again, thank you for joining me. The main thing I want to highlight goes here is one, new ideas. This is where I'll debut new ideas, and then two, documenting what I'll call behind the scenes work. So yeah, this is the documenting behind the scenes work. Anyway, yeah. Well, I hope this all makes sense to you, at least on some level. Okay, anyway, how to document work requires use of my cell phone in real time if possible without using my laptop. So one, I just have to say in the future, I hope I have more devices, more mobile devices, and then I can do it. Right now, I don't. If I have multiple mobile devices, I can be writing on one, recording on the other. That's basic. that's the goal. Don't have that right now. I know most people don't have multiple mobile devices, so I think ironically having multiple mobile devices is actually just necessary for life. But that's a conversation I'll go into in the future. Just things like cost, accessibility, things of that nature. But anyway. Okay. So there's that. Then there's making shorts. So that's kind of what I got now. I wonder what it means when I have a long wind up, because whenever we do things, there's a lot that goes into that. For me, I guess how much I speak and what I say is related to, I guess, messages. It's not just this. Let me just say this. Messages my ancestors are trying to send to me. So when I'm speaking about something for a long time before I actually do it, I'm wondering what that means. Does it mean it's basic? No, I think what that means is a very difficult thing. What are they telling me? They're telling me having multiple devices is the lazy way of solving this problem. For reasons I don't understand. Okay. Also, I've already talked about. Do I want to go into the atheism thing again? I said before, atheism is not logical. Everyone should be able to communicate with spirits. A lot of people can't now because we're not healthy. I think I'll just start shooting these statistics out. So, there's a common belief among atheists, and let's be honest, a lot of religious people can operate as atheists when it's convenient to them. I'll leave it as that. And people know I'm not religious, but if you want to be it's just a common term. It's not really accurate metaphysically. But if you want to say I'm spiritual, you'll get what I mean. I pray, but I'm not in a cult anyway. That's really what that means, person. Anyway, there's a common belief among atheists and people who operate as atheists when it's convenient that if you're talking to, or you believe you can talk to what I'll call a spiritual entity, whether you want to label that God, spirits, whatever, you're crazy. And again, for my position on God, I think the common description of God, a big being who can do anything, that doesn't exist. It's not possible. At the same time, I think there is an entity, a spiritual entity who can be called God most accurately, and he's just evil. I think it's the same being as the devil. When you think about what happens when people start worshiping God, they're always going to war, they're attacking people, committing acts of evil. They can't hold a simple conversation without arguing about small things. I think it's pretty clear that thing is evil. Anyway, I'll go into that more in the future. The whole point is I just want to make where I stand clear. I'm not one of these people who's just going to sit here and say, oh, God is great without giving you evidence. It's terrible. Anyway, the point I'm making is a common belief among atheists and people who operate as atheists when it's convenient that, God doesn't exist, or the crazier one, maybe he exists, but you can't know. You're 100% sure you can't know. Okay. Maybe he exists, but you can't know because you can't talk to him, and that's symptom of a mental illness. Not true. I'll just use these statistics. So, according to that perspective, right, if you're talking to someone who's not there, which is again a crazy concept, you must have a mental illness that can produce a hallucination or some sort of serious phenomenon. According to Western medicine, those diseases that can produce that phenomenon are only present in 6% of the population in the West, right? And that's the statistic I'll use, right? So only 6% of the population in the West, right, have been diagnosed with such a condition. And again, just because your condition could potentially produce those symptoms does not mean that it has. I want to note that. But that's 6%. At the same time, you have a situation where 28% of people in the West believe they have a direct one-to-one connection with God. What does that mean? That means, and this is they believe they can communicate with him, right? What does that mean? That means at the very least, these people believe they can communicate with supernatural entities. Those numbers don't line up, right? So if you're using that secular standard, you can in no way say that all those people are mentally ill. If you want to say we have a bunch of undiagnosed people, then you've abandoned the standard. So that falls away. Then globally, if you look at statistics, and again, I'll find this in the future when I fully tackle this, still about 28% of people believe they have a direct one-to-one connection with God. Again, these are based on those polls, right? So you have that. On top of that, you have a situation where a much larger percentage of people believe, God and or spirits exist. Almost no one on the planet is an atheist. And that applies to even, medical professionals and scientists. So what's my point in all of this? It is completely illogical to say that someone cannot, it is completely illogical when using the evidence that is available to secular and or atheist people to say that someone categorically cannot communicate with spiritual entities and or that those entities do not exist. Anyway, I'm just putting that out there. Why am I saying this? One, again, I addressed this to an extent on Mogi. I'll go into it again, but I'm just bringing this up as relevant. I've had trouble with this based on how people have been treating me in my personal life. So, it's just an annoyance that it's constantly about. But then two, I'm trying to explain what I'm talking about when I say that I pray I get messages, things of that nature, right? Now, let's go into my main point, right? So, ancestors are telling me that solving this problem here, right? And let me go into it deeper, right? When I'm talking about praying to my ancestors, right? One, I'm just trying to establish I'm not a crazy person because there are a lot of people who just dismiss what I'm saying offhand. Two, that's really the main reason I went into that. Two, in terms of the mechanism by which I communicate with them, it's very complicated to explain that. That's like explaining exactly how someone thinks. That's kind of impossible in a way. That's like explaining. That's like explaining what it feels like to be me. There's limits to that now. Are you my body anyway? But I'll just say this. If you have a general understanding of what people mean when they say they're communicating with God, for example, and then couple that with the fact that I'm not like seeing like visions, that's just not how it works for me, then you kind of get what I'm saying. I'm in my head, I'm thinking, and then I just get a communication, and I'll describe that more in the future. Anyway, I just want to let you guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so I'm also just letting you know my source of this information. So, because another thing we have to consider is that there have been technological declines throughout history. So don't assume that, there's never been a period in history where we've had devices like this. I know we don't have many records of that. You can debate the exact nature of those devices, but I mean, if we've been on this planet for more than hundreds of thousands of years, just don't assume there's never technology that your ancestors would have any knowledge of. And also, they get up to date with what's going on with us now. Anyway, so, sorry, I just feel like I have to go into that stuff a lot. But now, so, shorts is my symbol for it. So apparently using multiple mobile devices to solve this problem is lazy. I can see that. So what's the better way to solve this problem? Using shorts. One idea I have, again, when it comes to stuff that's personal to me, I'm trying my best to get that all out on Moge, but you know I'm alive, so if you're watching me work, my personal stuff will come out anyway. That's just what it is. So, it's my symbol for short videos here. So that's the other way to get it out, because the implication is if I'm using multiple mobile devices to be recorded. So let me put my symbol for live streams up. And also, I'm talking off the cuff here, so if it seems like for a moment I lost my train of thought, which I kind of did, that's all that is. I'm talking off the cuff about some very complicated issues. Okay, sorry I gotta go to bed. I subbed though. Thank you very much, Peyton Richardson, D1V, for the subscription and for contributing to this live. Appreciate it. Anyway, multiple mobile devices. So implicitly, it'll be on a live stream. Okay. Shorts. Let's see what am I thinking. I don't have to write all this down. Let's say Capricorn no go. Capricorn no go. Capricorn no go. Also, if you want to, well, let me hold back. I don't want to use the wrong term. There's specific terms for those diseases I was mentioning earlier. I'm 90% sure I remember the term, but I might misstate it. I don't want to. I'll get those for you later. Anyway, just look up statistics in the area I was talking about. You should find them anyway. Also, if you can't tell, another thing I'm figuring out is exactly, I'll just say which of the things that have been bothering me to say and what to hold in. Because, like anyone else, I have limits on what I can say. I don't say everything, but you can't bottle everything in. So I'm just thinking what to hold in. I'm happy with the stuff I got out today. There's just other things and other things related to those issues I raised that I'm thinking of getting out. I'm thinking of how best to do it, but then also what to say and what to hold back. Eventually is it possible to literally say everything? Probably not, but eventually I'll get out the heart of everything. Ooh, it's 11:11 right now. Let's make a wish. Let's fix romantic relationships in the world today. Let's pray that get fixed. That's very important. Again, we have to start thinking of that more as a systemic issue. It's not a small thing. I know we have a tendency to watch like rom-coms or whatever and think, oh, that's cute. No, it's big anyway, because like those are your deepest relationships. That's the reality anyway. But that doesn't mean the other ones aren't important. If you only have romantic relationships, ironically they'll break down anyway. So it's 11:11. Let's make another wish. Let's better understand the animals we call wolves. The wolf is something else. Neptune. Check out my stuff on Neptune. The god of the sea. Sea wolves. I put out stuff about that anyway. So let's look at the shorts thing. So I could put out shorts before and after I do the work. So that's a beginning point, but that idea doesn't fully satisfy me. Why not? I guess, you know what, I can take pauses while I'm working and put up shorts, but then the question is how to do that, because I don't like toggling and fiddling. What does that mean? So I want to know, this is the time of Elulomiri, the one that most people now call Capricorn. I've gone to that in the future. This is Capricorn time. You can actually call this Capricorn time, but most people call it Capricorn season. Shout out to all my fellow people born during this season. This is the common lingo. Shout out to everyone else. who is classified as a Capricorn. Well, that's kind of close to it. Anyway, I'll go into that in the future. I was born in this period. So yeah, anyway. Just starting to use the astrological seasons to note the time in which I'm doing things. I think that's helpful. I thought a lot about that. I'll go into that in the future. And then also another thing I want to know with the atheist thing. The biggest people I've seen who become atheists when it's convenient, to be honest, are Christians. That's both. I'll just say of all sects. So you believe the divine revelation when it comes from your pastor, if it comes from the Pope, if it comes from whoever, if it comes from your grandma who's always in church. But if someone who's not a Christian says something, all of a sudden you're Richard Dawkins. Anyway, that's a problem I've had because, I just know a lot of hypocritical Christians like that. Anyway. So is before, during, after. Let's look at that because I think this is really devoted to the shorts. But do I want to assume that? Let's not assume that. Let's do boo before so te and then during. Let's focus on the during. Also, for context about my live stream length, I've talked about this before, the ideal length for live streams. I don't want to say everything right now, but I'll just say this. Before I've noted that I've said that you shouldn't go past 30 minutes, but I think there's some exceptions. I'll just say that's a general rule of thumb. Don't make the live stream more than 30 minutes, but here we are. Sometimes it's just longer than 30 minutes. That's not necessarily bad. So going past the rule of thumb right now. Anyway. The god of thunder, Saturn. Saying that to everything. Okay. So before and after, that's not really a problem for me. In terms of thinking of how to do it. It'll just be whether or not I feel like doing it. During. How do I document? Then there's also screenshots. Look at that. If I take screenshots of what's happening. Screenshots. And then maybe I'll just also go just pictures in general. Okay, these are my symbols for that. Let me send the other thing. H-U-J, 44, that's another manifestation of 1111. Basically, any multiple of 1111, any even multiple of 11 is a manifestation of 1111. So when you see one, you should make a wish. And I just saw 4444. Let's note that. Saw 4444. I've been seeing a lot of what people call angel numbers. Let's make 4 wishes. Oh, okay. So if you see 1111, that's 1 wish. If you see 2222, that's 2 wishes, and so on. Before that, I saw 4 4. So let's figure this out. This is fun, but it's also practical because just to go into my, and I hate using this term, I'll just use it to be quick, spiritual beliefs really quickly. Prayer, that's not the meat of what we do, but it's a necessary extra. Someone said hi. Hi. Okay, I'll say hi. Hi. Thank you, John MC 710. So it's not the meat of what you do, it's the extra, but it's a necessary extra. Because if you don't support the meat, the whole meal is gone, right? So as part of that, you should constantly be doing things you should constantly be doing things like, praying you succeed, making wishes, taking into account information you get from dreams, taking into account information you hear from spirits, things like that. But at the same time, you need to unite that information with stuff you see in real life, physical evidence, physical, spiritual, united, right? So stuff like knowing what to do when you see numbers is crucial. But again, these are also options because, like, say, I'll just use this example, it's kind of morbid. Say you're rushing to the hospital because someone's injured and you see the number 4444. Don't stop everything you're doing to make the wish. That's bad, but it's an option. Although I guess you should adjust the option in that case. Anyway, first let's make the wish for 4. So how many is that? Because 2 is the same as 1111. 4 is double that, so that's 2 wishes. Okay. Should I write that down? Let me write that down. I don't want to overwrite. Let's do this. 2 wishes. And again, I got this information from talking to my ancestors. 444, that's 4 wishes. All right, so let's start with the 444. That's 2 wishes. What's my 2 wishes? Wish 1. I'm so okay, I'm just praying just because these wishes are going to be made in English, so it's not going to be as good as it can be because you have to pray in proper languages. Ideally, you should pray in your own language. Secondarily, you should pray in other proper languages. English is not a proper language. That messes up the prayer, but I want you all to understand because I'm saying all these prayers and my audience doesn't understand. That's actually a form of witchcraft. And I want to be careful when I say that because say you're in a gathering and 90% of people understand the language of the person praying and you don't. That's not witchcraft. You just don't know the language. I'm talking about in a case where the person comes in, it's understood that no one else understands their language and they don't even translate. Again, because a lot of us have to speak improper languages, it's inevitable that we'll have to translate and that'll put some mud in the prayer. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying if someone does not explain at all, if they just come in, they say everything in my language, everyone only speaks English, they run away. You gotta do some extra prayers because even if somehow they said good things, and I'll say they probably didn't because that's not the character of someone who does good things. Even if somehow they said good things because you don't know what's going on, they did what's known as they just sunned you. So you have to do some extra prayers to get rid of that curse. So I'm not sunning my audience. At the same time, I want to say proper prayers because if you only pray in English, that's just you just exploded nonsense in front of people. So, and again, you have to adjust that for ability. If you only know English, try as much as possible to pray with people who know at least one proper language, so they can at least set it up for you. That's something I'll go into in the future in more depth. Anyway, point is, I'm gonna say this in English so you all understand. Okay, John MC also earlier said, "What's good, my guy?" I'll address that now. I guess I'll just say it's all good. It's proper response to that. Anyway, thank you all for contributing. Now, all right, back to the matter at hand. I'm gonna first make 2 wishes because I saw the number 44. Please power up these wishes. Now I'm gonna make 4 wishes because I saw the number 4444. All right, first wish. Say it first in my language and I'll translate it. Kike. Translation: let us heal nature. That's wish 1. Wish 2. Translation: let's remove evil from this world. Alright, those are those 2 wishes. Yeah, I tie them together. May they expand forever. Alright, those are those 2 wishes. Now, let's take these 4 wishes. Let's make some fun wishes. I'll just say them all in English so y'all get the rhythm. Wish 1. Let's all be in love. Wish 2. May all the men grow out their beards. But seriously, if you cut your beard off, that's not healthy. I'll just go into this a bit. Men have a lot of unhealthy grooming standards in the world today. What are they based upon? They're based upon tests of strength and sunning yourself and sunning each other. A lot of them center around getting rid of your hair. In my mind, in my language, the word used for hair is the same as the word used for mind. Why? Because they're an extension of it. Also, the term used for what we call a beard implies that it gives you health. Ahono. People use that to mean, body. Ahwike, health. It's related. Ahono. Meaning what ahono. You get maybe important, you get maybe what you do, you destroy yourself. So yeah, grow out your beard. It's good for your health. Anyway, that's wish 2, but I want to explain that because that's very important. And also, I want to say this. A lot of men spend a lot of time criticizing, what women do with their hair. And, I'll just say the world over, we need a better understanding of healthy hair practices. But if you're hairless and beardless, do not begin to criticize what women are doing, because what you're doing is way more unhealthy. Anyway, I'll just leave it at that. Wish 3. Let me get out some new way. I want to only say that. Ahon, to Ahon, Abu Mahon, Ahon, God thunder. What am I saying? This thing you call the beard, all the God of Thunder can be called that thing. Think about that. Anyway, I'll go into that more in the future. Now, what is wish 3? Wish 3, may we all eat good food. I've done 3 of the 4 wishes for 444. I've done 3 of the 4 wishes for 4444. I said 444. I'm talking to 4444, same thing. If you see 4444, you're really hearing your ancestors sweat. Clap for yourself. Wish 4. May we all have wonderful children. Expand forever. Expand forever. Expand forever. Expand forever. Expand forever. Let me add an extra wish 5. May we get rid of the practice of men seeking out women for destruction. What be a new wife? Removed from this world. Be a proper man. Do not seek out women for destruction. But if I have to tell you that, a lot has gone wrong. Anyway. Alright. Anemeka kanua. I am expand in this world. Also, I know all my music, basically, I sing in my language. I know of a way to do it in a way that doesn't hurt myself and do it in a way that English speakers can understand. It's kind of what I did there. It's something known as Ka expansion. Got it from my ancestors. Basically, I'd have to say it in English very slowly. It's just that's hard. Because to just sing raw in English, that's just on multiple levels. It's just too painful for me. But if I'm just saying like expand forever, I can do that and I get a nice beat. And I just saw 444 again. Okay, so I get it. I've been seeing 444 a lot. Every time I see 444, I should make 4 wishes. Let's do it again. And I think think this is related to this thing I'm thinking of. It looks like an aside, but a lot of asides are part of the thought process. Again, we have to admit, we don't always know the inner workings of the mind. We just have to flow. 4 wishes. Let's make them fun. Whenever you get this many wishes, everybody eats, everybody eats, everybody eats, everybody eats. Which one can we all eat? Wish 2, can we all have good feet? Wish 3, can we all grow to our ideal height? Wish 4, can we all make good music? Spend forever. Alright. Also, another thing to add to the hair thing, just for some context, think about it. If you think of the machine people use to shave off hair, that thing exerts a lot of force. If you're constantly putting that near your head, couldn't that cause some damage? And if you're constantly raking over your scalp, isn't that bad for the skin up there? Isn't that bad for the hair up there? I have one relative, I've mentioned him before, let me just not traumatize the audience with the name of evil people too much, would always shave his hair off, at least when I would see him, to an extremely low level. I have multiple do that, but this one stuck out to me in particular because he would do that, and then he would say, I don't like growing my hair out because then I feel pain on my head. And I would just look at him, and I wouldn't say anything, but I would just be thinking, you're feeling pain because you're always raking coals over your head. So you have some scarification there. Anyway, the point is we have to think a lot of our cosmetic practices are unhealthy. And also there's a lot of what I'll call confusion for now out there. And if you're a confused person, your cosmetic standards might actually be out of sync with most people. So if they're unhealthy, they make you uncomfortable, and they're out of sync with most people, you've lost it all. So you can't go around saying that, I have to shave off all my hair to look nice, but when you go to the barber shop, they're concerned with how much hair you're shaving off. Anyway, expand forever. All right. So, that's a lot of wishes. Okay, let's bring the energy here, God. So, is it as simple as when I'm working, I just have to because a lot of this work is a slog for me. That doesn't mean it's not like something I should be doing when it's a slog. Does it just mean I should just take breaks and do something like this and be like, hey, I'm having fun while... You know what, I got it. This is a new segment. This is 444. My work break. 444, work break. Are my ancestors telling me to take a break from work? Well, here we go. That doesn't mean stop working. That means document the work in a fun way. Yes, 444. That is the number of the thing, the radio, Ewi. Ewi is the word used, and it's accurate for the animal we call rabbits and hares, those animals in my language. If you look up Igbo language, you'll find it. I found out the number for that thing because it's one of the things that undergirds existence. Again, the concept of gods and goddesses is both based off the real truth about Onyeka, expansion people. These are people who basically can inhabit multiple bodies. They're not people like us. They're like ethereal beings, right? But then also the undergirding reality of things is related to that, right? Because they're all part of things. Anyway, so Ewi, the radio, extended we, think about it, you're sending radio waves everywhere, right? Is a thing. It manifests as those animals primarily. I'll go into that more in the future, but its number is 444. When you see that, that means you're hearing spiritually clearly, you're thinking clearly, you're hearing your ancestors well, and you also got to do a work break. What is a work break? That's when you do a different type of work that documents your slog work, and that work got to be fun. So I think that's really the answer. And I'll leave it at that. Do I want to go up to the hour? You know what, I think I want to expand the culture of not straining to be on live too long, so I'll call it. God.